Here's the 2016 constructed response question about Omar, starting off with, and again, if you haven't already attempted this or at least read it through very carefully at least one time, please pause the video and unpause when you're ready. Alright, so they merely give you a list of six different days. On 6 different days, Omar went for a bike ride, and this was like a number of miles. So 8 miles one day, 2 miles, 1 mile, 7 miles, 2 miles, 6 miles. And the first question asks, what are the median and mode distances in miles Omar rode his bike? So I thought I'd start by just kind of writing down some definitions. This is not part of the answer. This is not what I would write down if I was actually taking the Keystones and giving this as an answer. This is just for you guys. So what is the median? You have to know what the median is. That's a key vocabulary word. And the median, so again, you don't have to write this down in your packet, or if you were to do this you don't have to write this kind of stuff down. But the median is the middle number when they are in order. That's very important. You can't really identify the median number, what number's in the middle, unless they are in order. And the mode, like what does the mode mean? The mode is the number that occurs the most. So how are we going to find the median? Well, we got to put these in order. So from least to greatest order. So that'd be like a 1, and you might want to do the little gimmick where you cross them out as you go, just to make sure. And then next would be that 2, but then there's another 2, and next would come 6, and then 7, and then 8. And if you needed to cross these out as you went, that's fine. So what number is in the middle? Okay, I guess you want to have the median separating the two. Well, separating the numbers into 2 sets of numbers that have the same number. You know, like in the middle. Basically, I guess I'm over-explaining this, but you want the median to be in the middle. And so if you kind of worked your way from outside in, or did like the rainbow thing, but ultimately the median is going to fall in between the 2 and the 6. Okay? Sometimes there actually is a number that's in the middle. Like if I had a 7th number, you know, bear with me here, don't get confused by this. It's just that if we had like a 9 included in the set, you know, now you'd have the 6 would actually be your median, because you'd have 3 numbers here and 3 numbers here on either side. So if that 9 was actually a number in the set, my median would be the 6 right here, but it's not, and so we kind of have 2 numbers in the middle. But don't really think of it like that. Don't think of it, I mean, that's just my advice. Think of it as like, you know, the middle number has to go in between the 2 and the 6. And that's literally going to be like an average, okay? And I'm getting a little ahead of myself with that definition, but, you know, thinking about like what number falls exactly in between 2 and 6. Sometimes you can do it in your head, but sometimes you have to literally go on your calculator or whatever and do 2 plus 6. And maybe I'll even write it down. So we can do 2 plus 6. And then divide that by 2, and that's pretty much an average of 2 and 6. And you are going to get 2 plus 6 is 8, divided by 2 is 4. So the median value, the number between 2 and 6, is 4. And the mode is even simpler. That's the number that occurs the most. The number that occurs the most is the 2. In part B, they talk about Omar found the range of the distances of his bike rides to be 7 miles. Okay, so what does the word range mean? Now, this is not to be confused with domain and range. So when you're talking about domain and range, the word range means something completely different. But in this case, what is the, and again, I'm just kind of writing this down. This is not what you would write down or what I would write down actually doing the problem. I'm just kind of writing this down for your benefit and the video's benefit. So the range is the difference between the highest and the lowest number. That's what the range means. Please know that. And why did they say it was 7? Well, because the difference between 1 and 8, so we would do 8 minus 1, and that's why they're saying the range is 7, because it is. And the question asks, explain why the range does not describe a typical length of Omar's bike rides. So, and that's kind of like a general thing, you know what I mean? In general, when you find the range of a data set, why would that value, that measurement, not necessarily represent a typical number in the set? And you know what? I don't know what to say about this. I'm not a big fan of what they're asking here. Explain why the range does not mean what it means. Well, because it means something else. I don't know what to say. Maybe they think you want to think of like the average or the mean, because the average or the mean, that's what represents a typical length of Omar's bike rides or any typical value in a data set. So again, I don't want to drag this out too long, because this explanation is not, I don't know what to say. It's like you actually do just, I guess, end up defining the range and saying something along the lines of, well, the range does not describe a typical length of a bike ride because it means this. Like, this is what it actually means. So I don't like this kind of style of explaining like why it doesn't mean this, because it means, I don't know. But as always, please be extra thorough with your explanations. Go above and beyond if you have to. Again, maybe you throw in something where it's like, well, because the measurement that actually means a typical length of Omar's bike rides would be the mean, not the range, because the range actually means this, so it can't mean this other thing. Okay, anyway. And all right, here, so now we actually sort of talk about officially the word mean. So how far does Omar need to ride his bike on day 7 to have a mean distance of 5 miles? And they want you to show or explain all of your work. First of all, what does the word mean mean? What's the definition of mean? Or average? It's the result when you add up all the numbers and then divide by how many numbers there are. That's something you need to know. So just another big vocabulary word. And like I sometimes say, like this, they're trying to make this question extra difficult because, you know, what they could have done is just say, hey, all right, so take these 6 numbers and please tell us the mean of these 6 numbers. And then all you would have done is add them all up and then divided by 6 to get that mean. But they're trying to make this as tricksy as they possibly can when they say, what would the 7th bike ride need to be for the overall mean to be 5 miles? So they're actually giving you the final answer, and they want you to figure out what that 7th number would be. So let me just double check this. 1, 2, 2, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 2, 6, 7, 8. So here's what you would basically do. Let me get this back on pen. And what color? Let's go with blue. Go Bison. And so what we would do 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus I don't know. And whenever you have something you don't know, you often just fill it in temporarily with a variable. And then we're going to take these, now there's 7 of them. And so to find the actual mean, now we're going to be dividing by 7 numbers, right? And what they're saying is all of this needs to equal a mean of 5. And, I guess there's other ways you can do this. I mean, we're essentially going to be working backwards with the mathematics to calculate mean. But I guess what I'm sort of getting at is they want you to show work or explain your work thoroughly. And I'm going to do it this way, and that should count as showing my work. And because essentially what I have right now is an equation using the mathematics from calculating mean. I have an equation that I can now just solve for x and get x by itself. The first thing I'm going to do is combine all of these together. All right, and that's going to be 1 plus 2 plus 2. That's 5. Better do this on your calculator. 35, 11, 18, 26. Let me double check that. 3, 5, 11, 18, 26. Again, it's better to do things like this on your calculator, but you still need to write this down, like every little baby step, all the baby steps you can possibly do, please, because when they say show all your work, they literally mean show everything. Even if you had to do like 2 plus 2, you got to write that down as 2 plus 2. And that's how that. Like, where did that 4 come from? You have to write down 2 plus 2 equals 4. Does that make sense? And when they say show everything, they mean show everything. And that would be divided by 7, and that's called equal 5. What will be the next thing you're going to be doing to get x by itself? Multiplying both sides by 7, and see how you have to write this out, okay? And so that's going to leave that's going to get rid of the dividing by 7, and so that leaves 26 plus x, and the other side will become 35. 5 times 7 is 35. And then, again, showing every bit of work, finally getting x by itself, you're going to subtract 26 from both sides and end up with x equals, oh boy, 9. 35 minus 26. That should be 9. Okay? And so there's probably a place to put your final answer. How far to, but if there's not a final space to write 9 or 9 miles, it can, hey, better to be safe than sorry. If there's units and you have to clearly write your final answer, use those units. You could say, like, my final answer is 9 miles, or the number of miles Omar rode on day 7 was 9 miles, but I hope there's going to be a space just to write 9 or 9 miles, okay?